And I just want to go back there because you touched on therapists and having that professional help. And that's something that I've always been a big believer in. How much weight do you put into that, and how much have you used it successfully in your life?
It's the key to my success. Being your own boss and all of the pressures that come with that, and especially if you have team members and all of that, it's lonely. And I think a lot of people don't realize that. They have this grandiose vision that, CEOs run around in jets and, Ferraris that are rented. They're rented. And that things just magically happen for them. Nothing could be further from the truth. And we're seeing that in the ranks now. I mean, we're seeing CEOs who are jumping off of bridges and, overdosing on drugs and their families are falling apart. I mean, I supported CEOs who could barely keep it together and whom I, in a lot of instances, found them professional help so that they could just be okay. That's a lot of pressure. I mean, especially when you come across a good idea, you probably have never been a manager before, but you come across a good idea, you seek investment, the investors love you, next thing you know, you're the CEO of a multi-billion-dollar company or a multi-million-dollar company, having not really either wanted to do that necessarily or have any sort of skill in doing it, and still trying to maintain the composure that you know what the hell you're doing. That's a lot of pressure every single day. And then when you start adding lives and livelihoods to that mix, it's a lot. And I think we don't give CEOs enough credit, especially new CEOs. We don't give them enough credit because a lot of them do well, a lot of them don't. And the ones that don't, sadly, aren't around anymore. So I 100% believe in professional help. I mean, I think I mentioned, and sorry, I don't want to beat this up, but I grew up on a farm in Texas. So, I love to say I have a master's from Figure the F Out University. And it took me a while to trust that someone else wasn't just going to kind of run mind games on me and basically bilk me for money or something like that. And once I did find just the right person, he's like family. He's essential to my success and essential to my life. And I look forward to that, 9 a.m. call every Tuesday morning, no matter where I am in the world. And happy to give up that $100 a session, or whatever. Just because it keeps me okay. And it's that one person that I trust. I know that sounds crazy, but it's besides my mother, it's the one person in my life that I trust completely. Because they know me better often than I know myself. I'd love to say that, but definitely better than everybody else because they hear all my deepest, darkest secrets and fears and are able to sort of help me, figure them out and not turn them into something they're not. That's the one thing. So I'm a huge advocate. You need a mentor and you definitely need a therapist. And therapy, it shouldn't be scary. No. I mean, not in these times.
No. And that's something else I've noticed as I've gone through my career and and as a leader, trying to teach younger people to get a therapist or get help, or someone to talk to. A lot of the time I find that they have a fear around getting someone they think that must mean they have a problem.
Right.
What do you say to people like that, and how do you change their minds about it?
I think for me, a lot of people don't like to appear vulnerable. And I get it. I mean, we're in the digital age. Everything is about social media and, everything's great and all of that. And it's not, those of us that are in the trenches know it's not. And I tend to be, I look at my life, especially now, I just recently turned 50, and I made it sort of like almost like a challenge that I want to be, almost like this walking litmus test, this sort of, watch Phoenix try this, and if it works, do it. If it doesn't, run, that kind of thing. I feel like I'm single, I have no kids, so I'm perfect for this, I'm perfect to kind of be the test dummy, and I enjoy that. But I think, it's important again to just let people know that type of vulnerability, oddly enough, it actually helps other people when you make that public. I know that may sound strange, and I know a lot of people are like, I don't want to put all my business in the street. Well, guess what? I mean, you do that when you're on social every single day, and sometimes what we're putting out is not a true representation of who we are. And then back to the authenticity thing. It's kind of freeing, oddly enough. The more authentic I am and the more sort of public I am with my struggles, and even my triumphs, the more I feel whole. And the more I know I resonate with people, and I get those emails and those DMs and texts and saying, I could never, thank you for saying what I could never ever say, or thank you for, putting this out there because I thought I was suffering in silence, and it's good to know that someone like you, and I'm like, come see my place, it's tiny, you know what I mean? Someone like you could be going through the exact same thing that I'm going through. So I'm in the other camp. Like I like being vulnerable, and I like being physically and sort of personally vulnerable, so that people can see it's not that deep. We're all human. We're all human, and we all make mistakes. We all have fears. We all have those weird moments where we have imposter syndrome, or we have that fear that things are just going to suck, and we're not sure we can handle it. But I think if it's out there in a very conspicuous way, then we all benefit from it. And I think personally, when people are a little bit more vulnerable, again, it actually helps them become more powerful and more personally powerful. And there you go.